To be included in this list, the person must have a Wikipedia article showing they are Italian American and must have references showing they are Italian American and are notable anarchists. Luigi Galliani, 1861–1931. Arturo Giovanni T. 1884–1959. Union leader and poet. Nicola Sacco, 1891–1927. Bartolomeo Vanzetti, 1888–1927. Carlo Tresca, 1879–1943. Architects. Vito Acconci, Pietro Belluschi, Giorgio Cavalieri, Mario J. Ciampi, Neil Denari, Romualdo Giagala, Michael Manfredi, Rosaria Pianelli, George Rainelli, Mario Salvadori, Lawrence Scarpa, Riccardo Scofidio, Paolo Soleri, Robert Venturi. Artists. Comic artists, cartoonists, illustrators. Brian Azzarello, comic book writer. Joseph Barbera, 1911–2006. Animator, cartoon artist, storyboard artist, director, producer, and co-founder, together with William Hanna, of Hanna-Barbera. Timothy D. Bellavia, born 1971, children's illustrator, author and founder of the We Are All the Same and Sage Doll Making Workshop. Ivan Brunetti, born 1967, cartoonist and comics author. John Buscema, 1927–2002. Comic book artist and one of the mainstays of Marvel Comics during its 1960s and 1970s ascendancy into an industry leader and its subsequent expansion to a major pop culture conglomerate. Greg Capullo, born 1962, comic book artist. Anthony Flamini, born 1978, comic book writer. Frank Frazetta, born 1928, one of the world's most influential fantasy and science fiction artists. Bill Gallio, born 1922, cartoonist and newspaperman. Dick Giordano, born 1932, comic book artist and editor. Frank Chacoia, 1925–1989, comic book artist. Carmine Infantino, born 1925, comic book artist and editor who was a major force in the Silver Age of comic books. Walter Lantz, 1900–1994, cartoonist and animator. Founded the Walter Lantz Studio. Created Woody Woodpecker. Bob Montana, 1920–1975, comic strip artist who created the characters that launched Archie Comics. Joe Orlando, 1927–1998, illustrator, writer, editor and cartoonist. Jimmy Palmiotti, writer and artist of various comics, games and film. Leo Politi, 1908–1996, artist and author who wrote and illustrated some 20 children's books. John Romita, Sr., born 1930, comic book artist known for his work on Marvel Comics' The Amazing Spider-Man. Don Rosa, born 1951, comic book artist for Disney Comics. Eric Stefani, born 1967, pop musician, former Simpsons animator, and Grammy-nominated composer and writer. Jim Valentino, born 1952, writer, penciler and editor of comic books. Gerard Way, born 1977, comic book writer, frontman of the American rock band My Chemical Romance. Digital artists and illustrators. Rich DeSilvio, born 1957, illustrator, photographer, fine artist, digital artist, web designer, new media developer, architectural designer and writer. Louise Philly, born 1951, graphic designer, 2014 American Institute of Graphic Arts medalist. Fred Marcellino, 1939–2001, illustrator, painters. Ettore de Grazia, Robert De Niro, Sr., 1922 to 1993. Abstract expressionist. Father of actor Robert De Niro, Jr., Robert Longo, Tony Sisti, 1901 to 1983. Painter and boxer Frank Stella, born 1936. Painter and printmaker Joseph Stella, 1877 to 1946. Futurist painter known for his depictions of industrial America. Photographers Severo Antonelli, 1907 to 1995. Legendary figure in Philadelphia Italian-American history and the subject of one of the largest ever one-man shows at the Smithsonian Institution. Franco A. Frank Barzotti, 1937 to 2012. Photographer and professor emeritus from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Justin Guareglia, 1974. Photographer and contributing editor to National Geographic Traveler, and a regular contributor to Smithsonian Magazine. Luis Marden, 1913 to 2003. Photographer, explorer, writer, filmmaker, diver, navigator, and linguist who worked for National Geographic Magazine. Francesco Scavello, 1921 to 2004. Fashion photographer known for his work on the covers of Cosmopolitan magazine and his celebrity portraits. Mario Sorrenti, born 1971. Fashion photographer. Sculptors Vincent Cavallaro, Jasper D'Ambrosi, John D'Andrea, Joe DeSantis, Mark Di Suvero, Virginio Ferrari, Corrado Parducci, Picarilli Brothers, Italo Scanga, Neo-Dadaist. Business, criminals, entertainers, actors, food, Joe Bastianich, chef, Lydia Bastianich, chef, Cesar Cardini, creator of the Caesar salad, Michael Chiarello, American celebrity chef specializing in Italian-influenced California cuisine. Giada De Laurentiis, host of the Food Network program Everyday Italian. Gina Keatley, chef and television personality. Influenced charities in New York City. Cirio Macchioni, restaurateur and author. Rachel Ray, Food Network chef and Emmy-winning television personality. Inventors. Antonia Ducci, 1937 to 2006. Pioneer of the medical device industry in Minnesota. Best known for founding Guidant Corp. Precursor Cardiac Pacemakers, Inc., now part of Boston Scientific, the company that manufactured the world's first lithium battery-powered artificial pacemaker. Giuseppe Mario Belanca, Anir Bossi, Lorenzo Del Riccio, inventor of photo finish camera. Daniel Di Lorenzo, Gerard J. Foschini, Domingo Girardelli. The Jacuzzi family developed the deep well water pump that led to the famous Whirlpool bath. Antonio Mucci, born 1808, credited by the Congress of the United States with the invention of the telephone. Lorenzo Ponza, inventor of the modern baseball pitching machine. Francis Rogallo, engineer at NASA, designed the Rogallo wing, which found its greatest success in hang gliders and kites. Andrew Toty, Dr. Andrew Viterbi, born 1935, billionaire, co-founder of Qualcomm, inventor of the Viterbi algorithm. Frank Zamboni, inventor of the modern ice resurfacer. Jurists. Samuel Alito, Supreme Court Associate Justice. Vincent Bugliosi, successfully prosecuted Charles Manson. An expert on the John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy assassinations. Anne-Marie Calabria, judge on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Frank Caprio, chief judge of the Providence Municipal Court. William J. Castagna, judge on the United States District Court. Richard J. Daronco, assassinated judge of the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. Victoria A. Grafeo, associate judge of the New York Court of Appeals. Janie LaVecchia, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of New Jersey. Antonin Scalia, Supreme Court Associate Justice. John Sirica, Judge most famous for presiding over the Watergate hearings. Law enforcement figures. Joseph Arpaio, born 1932 in Springfield, Massachusetts, law enforcement officer, most notably as the sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona. The child of immigrants from Lacedonia. Gil Garcetti, born 1941, Los Angeles County's 40th District Attorney. Joseph D. Pistone, undercover FBI agent who went undercover as Donnie Brasco and infiltrated the Bonanno crime family. Louis Freeh, born 1950 in Jersey City, New Jersey. Director of the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, from 1993 to 2001. Rudolph Giuliani, early career was a U.S. attorney in S.D.N.Y., prosecuting high-profile cases, including Cosa Nostra cases. Dan Mitrione, Italian-born American police officer, FBI agent, and U.S. government advisor for the CIA in Latin America. Frank Rizzo, Frank Serpico, Joe Petrosino, NYCPD lieutenant in charge of the Italian Squad, an elite corps of Italian-American detectives formed to fight the Mafia. Charles Joseph Bonaparte, member of Theodore Roosevelt's cabinet and founder of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, journalism, print and multimedia. Melissa Anelli, resident of Staten Island, journalist at Staten Island Advance and webmaster of the Leaky Cauldron. Maria Bartiromo, financial reporter. Joe Benigno, WFAN sports radio personality. David Brancaccio, journalist. Harry Carey, 1914 to 1998. Born Harry Christopher Carabiner, sports broadcaster. Did play-by-play for the St. Louis Cardinals, Chicago White Sox, and most famously the Chicago Cubs. Cubs win. Cubs win. Matt Casamassina, video game journalist working for IGN. Danny Caslaro, freelance journalist. Igor Cassini, journalist. Chris Cimino, co-host of Today in New York on WNBC, the NBC affiliate in New York City. Kellyanne Conway, president and CEO of the polling company Inc. Woman Trend, and has been a political commentator on CNN, Fox News, Fox Business, and more. Anthony Cumia, Anthony, of The Opie and Anthony Show. Rick Francona, NBC military analyst. Michael Gargiulo, co-host of Today in New York on WNBC, the NBC affiliate in New York City. Megyn Kelly, Fox News Channel political commentator and former corporate defense attorney. Steve Lopez, journalist, a columnist for the Los Angeles Times since 2001. The son of Spanish and Italian immigrants. John Paul Morosi, journalist, Fox Sports and MLB commentator. Ann Nocenti, journalist, writer and editor, known for her work on comic books and magazines. Generoso Pope Jr., 1927 to 1988. Founder of the National Enquirer. Tony Rizzo, sports anchor with WJW-TV, the Fox affiliate in Cleveland. Alison Rosati, WMAQ-TV nightly anchor, maternal Italian ancestry. Lauren Scala, co-host of Today in New York on WNBC, the NBC affiliate in New York City. Elaine Sciolino, Paris bureau chief of the New York Times. Al Giordano, political commentator, and former anti-nuclear and environmental activist. Military. Sergeant John Basilone, USMC. Medal of Honor recipient of World War II. Major John Belly, the Quartermaster General of the U.S. Army from 1792 to 1794. Corporal Anthony Casamento, USMC. Medal of Honor recipient of World War II. Lieutenant General Peter W. Chiarelli. Col. Luigi Palma di Cesnola, Civil War Union cavalry officer, and Medal of Honor recipient. Lt. Colonel Rick Francona, U.S. Air Force officer. Major Don Gentile. Dominic Salvatore Gentile, 1920–1951. U.S. Air Force officer. Edmund P. Jambastiani, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Giovanni Martini, Trumeter, only member of Custer's army to leave the site of the Battle of the Little Bighorn alive. General Raymond T. Odierno, incumbent Chief of Staff of the United States Army. Peter Pace, USMC, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Antonio Piero, lived to be one of the oldest surviving veterans of World War I. Joseph L. Romano, Walter Schurrer, naval officer and aviator, aeronautical engineer, test pilot, and one of the original 7 astronauts chosen for Project Mercury. Maj. Gen. Francis D. Vavala, Adjutant General, Delaware Army National Guard. Humbert Roque Versace, United States Army officer and POW in Vietnam. Gen. Anthony Zinni, USMC, former Commander-in-Chief of U.S. Central Command, CNTCOM. Politicians. Diplomats. Richard F. Celeste, U.S. Ambassador to India, 1997–2001. Paul Cellucci, U.S. Ambassador to Canada, 2001–2005. Peter Chanchit, U.S. Ambassador to Costa Rica, 2008. Luigi R. Einaudi, Acting Secretary General of the Organization of American States, OAS. Thomas M. Foglietta, U.S. Ambassador to Italy, 1997–2001. John J. Maresca, U.S. Ambassador, United States Delegation to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, 1992–1994. Joseph A. Musamelli, U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Ambassador to Cambodia, 2005–2008. Francis J. Richardson, Jr., U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines and Republic of Palau, 2002–2005. Ambassador to Egypt, 2005–2008. And Deputy Ambassador to Afghanistan, 2008. Peter F. Secchia, U.S. Ambassador to Italy, 1989–1993. Ronald P. Spolly, U.S. Ambassador to Italy and first U.S. Ambassador to San Moreno, 2005–2009. Governors and former governors. John Baldacci, former Governor of Maine, 2003–2011. Donald Carcieri, former Governor of Rhode Island, 2003–2011. Dick Celeste, former Governor of Ohio, 1983–1991. Argio Paul Cellucci, former Governor of Massachusetts, 1997–2001. Chris Christie, Governor of New Jersey. Andrew Cuomo, Governor of New York, 2010–present. Mario Cuomo, former Governor of New York, 1983–1994. Edward G. Diepreet, former Governor of Rhode Island, 1985–1991. Michael Dissel, former Governor of Ohio, 1959–1963. James Florio, former Governor of New Jersey, 1990–1994. Foster Furcolo, former Governor of Massachusetts, 1957–1961. Ella T. Grasso, former Governor of Connecticut, 1975–1980. First woman to be elected governor without following a husband. Andrew H. Longino, former Governor of Mississippi, 1900 to 1904. Janet Napolitano, former governor of Arizona, 2003 to 2009. John Orlando Pastor, former governor of Rhode Island. William Parker, signer of the American Declaration of Independence, member of the Continental Congress, governor of Maryland. Federal District Judge George Pataki, former governor of New York, 1995 to 2006. Al Smith, former governor of New York, 1919 to 1921. 1923 to 1929. John A. Volpe, former governor of Massachusetts, 1961 to 1963. 1965 to 1969. Mayors and former mayors. Hugh Adonisio, 1914 to 1981. Mayor of Newark, New Jersey, 1962 to 1970. Joseph Alioto, 1916 to 1998. Mayor of San Francisco, 1968 to 1976. Thomas L. J. D'Alessandro, Jr., 1903 to 1987. Mayor of Baltimore, Maryland, 1947 to 1959. Prior to being mayor, he was a representative from Maryland's 3rd Congressional District, 1939 to 47. Father of U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi. Luigi Borgia, B. 1958. Mayor of Doral, Florida. Since 2012, he was born in Caracas, Venezuela. Richard Caligari, 1931 to 1988. Mayor of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1978 to 1988. Anthony Celebrezze, 1910 to 1998. Mayor of Cleveland, Ohio, 1953 to 1962. Vincent Chauncey, Jr., B. 1941. Mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, 1975 to 1984 and 1991 to 2002. David Cicilline, B. 1961. Mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, 2003. Jewish mother. John DeStefano, Jr., B. 1955. Mayor of New Haven, Connecticut. Since 1993. Frank Farsi, B. 1920. Mayor of Honolulu, Hawaii, 1969 to 1981 and 1984 to 1994. Eric Garcetti, B. 1971. Mayor of Los Angeles, California. Since 2013. Philip Giordano, B. 1963. Mayor of Waterbury, Connecticut, 1995 to 2001, when was arrested for municipal corruption and convicted of sex offender. He was born in Caracas, Venezuela. Rudolph Giuliani, B. 1944. Mayor of New York, 1994 to 2001. Dick A. Greco, B. 1933. Mayor of Tampa, Florida, 1967 to 1974 and 1995 to 2003. Pam Ario, B. 1959. Mayor of Tampa, Florida. Since 2003. Vincent Tarr, Impellitteri, 1900 to 1987. Mayor of New York, 1950 to 1953. Fiorello LaGuardia, 1882 to 1947. Mayor of New York, 1934 to 1945. Both parents Italian-born. Father lapsed Catholic. Mother Jewish. Anthony M. Masciello, B. 1947. Mayor of Buffalo, New York, 1994 to 2005. Thomas Menino, 1942 to 2014. Mayor of Boston, Massachusetts, 1993 to 2014. Robert Maestri, 1899 to 1974. Mayor of New Orleans, Louisiana, 1936 to 1946. George Moscone, 1929 to 1978. Mayor of San Francisco, 1976 to 1978. Frank Rizzo, 1920 to 1991. Mayor of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 1972 to 1980. Angelo Rossi, 1878 to 1948. Mayor of San Francisco, 1931 to 1944. Victor Chiraut, 1904 to 1992. Mayor of New Orleans, Louisiana, 1961 to 1970. Frank A. Sedita, 1907 to 1975. Mayor of Buffalo, New York, 1958 to 1961. 1966 to 1973. Aldo Tatangelo, 1913 to 2008. Mayor of Laredo, Texas, 1978 to 1990. Prelates: Monsignor Gino Baroni, 1930 to 1984. The Catholic coordinator for the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, Francis X. de Lorenzo, born 1942. The 12th Bishop of the Diocese of Richmond, Indiana, Virginia. John Clement Favalora, Archbishop of the Latin Rite Archdiocese of Miami. Fr. Stan Fortuna, Roman Catholic priest. James Groppi, Roman Catholic priest and noted civil rights activist. Francis Mugavero, first Italian-American Bishop of Brooklyn, 1968 to 1990. Anthony M. Pillough, Bishop of the Cleveland Catholic Diocese, 1979 to 2006. Joseph Rosati, the first Bishop of the Diocese of St. Louis. Cardinals: Joseph Louis Bernardine, 1928 to 1996. Archbishop of Cincinnati, Archbishop of Chicago, Anthony Joseph Bevilacqua, 1923 to 2012. Served as Bishop of Pittsburgh and Archbishop of Philadelphia. Daniel Nicholas DiNardo, born 1949, Archbishop of Galveston, Houston. Justin Francis Regali, born 1935, Archbishop of Philadelphia. Scientists: Aristides Agramonte, bacteriologist; Eugenio Calabi, mathematician; Charles Delisi, Renato Dulbecco, Federico Fagan, Robert Fano, born 1917, computer scientist; Ugo Fano, 1912 to 2001, physicist; Anthony Fauci, immunologist contributing to research in the areas of AIDS and other immunodeficiencies; Enrico Fermi, 1901 to 1954, physicist; Robert Gallo, virologist; Albert Ghiorso, nuclear scientist who helped discover several chemical elements on the periodic table; Riccardo Giacconi, Louis Ignaro, Robert Lanza, Paul J. Lioi, exposure science; Mariangela Lisanti, theoretical physicist; Salvador Luria, Fulvio Melia, physicist, astrophysicist, and author; Antonio Mucci, telephone inventor; Rita Levi Montalcini, Franco Modigliani, Lisa Marie Novak, born Lisa Marie Caputo, astronaut; William Daniel Phillips, Bruno Rossi, Giancarlo Rota, Jack Sarfatti, Piero Scaruffi, born 1955, cognitive scientist; Walter Schirra, astronaut; Emilio Segre, Nobel Prize-winning physicist and academic; Luigi Luca Cavalli Sforza, born 1922, geneticist; Andrew Viterbi, Philip Zimbardo, academics; Mario Capecci, University of Utah; John D. Caputo, Frank A. Cipriani, Thomas A. DeFanti, John J. DiGiuria, President of Georgetown University; Frank J. Fabozzi, A. Bartlett Giamatti, 1938 to 1989, President of Yale University, later Major League Baseball Commissioner; Italian father, Robert Gallucci, Dean of the Edmond A. Walsh School of Foreign Service at Georgetown University. Lino Graglia, University of Texas in Austin. Paul J. Loy, University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Robert Malleola, academic specialist in hermeneutics, philosophy, and religious studies. Silvio Micali, professor of computer science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Distinguished for his work on cryptography. Fulvio Melia, professor of physics and astronomy at the University of Arizona in Tucson. Franco Modigliani, MIT economics professor and winner of the 1985 Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics. L. J. Oliva, former president of New York University, NYU, and author of many books on European and Russian history. Camille Paglia, professor at Humanities at the University of the Arts. P. M. Passanetti, professor of comparative literature and Italian at UCLA. Walter Piston, professor of music at Harvard University 1926 to 1960. Pulitzer Prize winner 1948 and 1961. Sports. Writers. Ken Auletta, writer, journalist and media critic for The New Yorker. David Baldacci, 1960. Best-selling novelist. A distant cousin of John Baldacci. Former governor of Maine. Andrew Berardini, art critic and fiction writer. Greg Berlanti, television writer and producer. Gianni Braschi, poet and novelist. Leo Buscaglia, 1924–1998. Author and motivational speaker. Dwayne Capizzi, screenwriter. Lorenzo Carcaterra, novelist and screenwriter. John Chardy, poet and etymologist. Angelo F. Coniglio, civil engineer, genealogist and author. Gregory Corso, poet. John Corvino, philosopher. Lorenzo da Ponte, poet, writer, librettist. William L. D'Andrea, mystery writer. Keith R. A. DiCandido, Don DeLeo, 1936. Author. Guy Anthony DeMarco, author. Tommy DeParola, author. Luis D. Salvo, writer, editor, professor, and lecturer. Pietro Di Donato, writer. Rich De Silvio, writer, author of The Winds of Time. John Fante, novelist and screenwriter. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, poet, essayist and painter. David Franzoni, screenwriter of Gladiator and King Arthur. John Fusco, novelist, Paradise Salvage, and screenwriter of Young Guns. Hidalgo, spirit, stallion of the Cimarron. Paul Gallico, Italian father. Daniela Gioseffi, 1941. Poet, novelist, literary critic, essayist, performer, social justice activist. Arturo Giovanni T., poet, political activist. Barbara Grizzu T. Harrison, 1934–2002. Writer. Evan Hunter, a.k.a. Ed McBain. Born Salvatore Lombino. Philip Lamantia. Teresa de Laurentiis. Luis Marden, born Annabel Luis Paragolo. Writer for National Geographic. Fulvio Melia, author of several popular science books, including The Black Hole at the Center of Our Galaxy. Charles Messina, writer, director of the play Mercury, The Afterlife and Times of a Rock God, the film Merging, and co-author the book My Father, My Don. Diana Ossana, Academy Award-winning screenwriter. Camille Paglia, post-feminist literary and cultural critic. Christopher Paolini. Michael Parenti. P. M. Passanetti, novelist, playwright, journalist, professor. Mario Pei. Tom Perotta, novelist and screenwriter best known for the novels Election, 1998, and Little Children, 2004. Joseph D. Pistone. Diane Di Prima, poet of the Beat Generation. Mario Puzo, 1920–1999. writer, screenwriter and best-selling author of The Godfather. Terry Rossio, screenwriter. Shane Salerno, screenwriter. R.A. Salvatore, born 1959. Born Robert Anthony Salvatore, science fiction and fantasy author. Best known for his Forgotten Realms and Star Wars novels. Leslie Scalapino, poet. Piero Scaruffi, poet, historian, scientist. Dom Domenico Serafini, TV Trade magazine editor. Michelangelo Signori, journalist, columnist, talk radio host and gay activist. Gator Lees, Adriana Trigiani, Tom Verducci, sports writer. Italian-Americans who were first in their field of achievement. Giuseppe Mario Belanca, designer of the first monoplane in the United States with an enclosed cabin. Frank Borzage, first person to win the Academy Award for directing for Seventh Heaven, 1927. Anir Bossi, designer of the first stainless steel aircraft and designer of the disputed first fully human-powered plane. Anthony Celebrezze, 1910–1998. The first non-native to be appointed to the U.S. Cabinet. Geraldine Ferraro, 1935–2011. The first woman in the U.S. history to be nominated for the vice presidency of the United States from a major political party. Ella T. Grasso, 1919–1981. Born Ella Rose Tambusi Grasso. First woman to be elected governor of a U.S. state without succeeding her husband. Giuseppina Morlacchi, 1846–1886. Ballerina and dancer. Introduced the cancan to the American stage. Nancy Pelosi, the first woman in the U.S. history to hold the office of Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Dennis Tito, the world's first space tourist. Joe Valachi, 1904–1971. The first member of the Mafia to testify to the Senate about organized crime. Dr. Frank Passantino, 1927–2003. Helped establish Italian-American Day at the S.F. Giants Ballpark. Italian-Americans not otherwise categorized. Morello Agnelli, furniture designer. Luigi Antonini, labor leader. Mike Bonggiorno, TV personality. Elisa Campanella, father is of Italian descent. From Naples. Mother is of Danish and German ancestry. Oleg Cassini, Russian-Italian-American fashion designer. Andrew Cunanan, spree killer. Mother was Italian-American. Emily Di Donato, American model of Italian, Irish, and Native American ancestry. Ralph Digia, pacifist and social justice activist. James Doty, longtime president of Chapman University. Tabitha Dumo, choreographer and creative director. Angelo Dundee, trainer of several boxing champions. Elizabeth Edwards, Eniacuti and Narnia, wife of John Edwards, a former U.S. Senator from North Carolina. Vanessa Hessler, American model and actress. Nick LaRocca, musician, composer. Stacey London, stylist and fashion consultant. Sicilian mother, Jewish father. Mike Pompeo, politician, director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Charles Ponzi, 1882–1949. One of the greatest swindlers in American history. Inventor of the Ponzi scheme. Carrie Prejean, American model. Author. Former Miss California USA 2009 and Miss USA 2009 first runner-up. John Scarn, born Orlando Carmelo Scarnecchia. Gambling expert and sleight of hand card performer. Mary Schiavo, former Inspector General of the United States Department of Transportation. Michael Schiavo, ex-husband of Terry Schiavo. The woman whose comatose state and subsequent court case garnered much media attention. Milton Sirota, at age 9, coined the term Google. Carmela Teal'c, 14-year-old mill worker whose congressional testimony helped end the 1912 Lawrence textile strike. Jack Valenti, of Sicilian heritage, president of the Motion Picture Association of America from 1966 to 2007. Michael Viscardi, mathematician. Elettra Rossellini Wiedemann, fashion model and socialite of Italian, Swedish, French and German descent. See also: List of Sicilian Americans. List of Italian Britons.